2021. We had terrorists attack the US Congress, we had the continuation of a global pandemic, and possibly, most damning of all, the rise of NFTs. The bizarre nature of 2021 trickled over into most aspects of modern life, including football, which is what we are going to talk about today. We're going to review the year 2021, looking at some of the biggest and most noteworthy stories of the year. Of course, this is not an exhaustive list. There is plenty of stuff that we forgot to mention in this list. So if there's anything that we did forget that you thought would be worthy of mention, let us know in the comment section down below. And while you're there, I'll do it now so we don't have to do it at the end. Click subscribe, like, all that stuff that the algorithm tells us to do. The almighty algorithm must be appeased. Without further ado, in no particular order, this is a review of football in 2021. The European Super League. Where else can we start but with this absolute shit show? The announcement of the European Super League back in April of 2021 rocked the foundations of the world of football, as some of Europe's biggest clubs had allegedly signed on to be a part of this new Super League. Clubs such as Manchester United, Liverpool, Juventus, Barcelona and Real Madrid had all announced their intent to sign up for the ESL, the repercussions of which would have been biblical. However, after severe backlash from both fans and pundits alike, most teams U-turned and the whole thing fell apart quicker than a leper in a wind tunnel, leaving everyone involved in the project hugely embarrassed and, if you're to believe what you read, hugely out of pocket. If you would like to know more about the European Super League, we did do a video on it. You can watch that if you want. It's floating about here somewhere. I don't know what side. It's going to be either there or there. Euro 2020. The postponed European Championships took place 1 year after they were meant to due to the coronavirus pandemic. The initial idea was to have several venues host the tournament, as this was an anniversary of the European Championships. However, the slight issue of a global pandemic may have got in the way. Between the 11th of June and the 11th of July, we saw 51 games played and 142 goals scored throughout the tournament. It was a huge month for North Macedonia and Finland as they made their European Championship debuts. The final, of course, took place at Wembley Stadium between England and Italy, with the Italians eventually winning the tournament on penalties. The fall of Spurs. Here, Tottenham, could you not be yourselves for 5 minutes, like? Having reached the Carabao Cup final, they sacked manager and perennial cup specialist Jose Mourinho to replace him with that legendary manager. What's his name? Your man. Ryan Mason. That's him, the lad that used to play for Tottenham and never managed a game in his life. What? They lost that cup final to the surprise of exactly no one and ended up finishing 7th in the Premier League, only good enough to qualify for the Europa Conference League. I'm sorry, I'm laughing. In the summer, main man and captain Harry Kane announced his intention to leave Tottenham, but didn't get his move and had to stay there and kind of trudge back into the locker room with his tail between his legs. Oh, that would have been proper awkward. Oh, my social anxiety is just playing up at the very thought of it. Finally, after being turned down by a number of targets in the summer to replace Jose Mourinho, they finally brought in Nuno Espirito Santo from Wolves on a 2-year deal and then sacked him 5 months later. They initially did replace Nuno with their previous top target Antonio Conte, who coincidentally turned them down in the summer the very next day after Nuno had been ousted from the job. Surely this would be the turnaround that Spurs fans had wanted, and initially, yeah, until they came up against some bloody, Moldovan side in the Europa Conference League? Where are they from? Slovenia, Mura of Slovenia. I knew that, I didn't have to look that up. Since that embarrassment, however, though, Tottenham seemed to be on the up under Antonio Conte, so we'll have to see how it goes come the end of the season. Christian Eriksen. During a Euro 2020 group stage game between Denmark and Finland, Denmark attacking midfielder Christian Eriksen collapsed on the pitch after receiving a throw-in from his teammate. Medical personnel were immediately called for and a haunting hush went around the stadium. All the credit in the world to Simon Kjær and his Danish teammates for forming a wall around Christian Eriksen so as the cameras couldn't see the medical personnel working on their fallen colleague. No credit, however, to the director, who refused to cut away from the pitch and instead showed us Christian Eriksen's grieving wife on the side of the pitch. Eriksen received cardiopulmonary resuscitation on the pitch, and the seriousness of the situation began to sink in to those watching in the stadium and those watching on television at home. Eriksen was eventually stretchered off the pitch, and it was revealed the next day that he had indeed suffered a cardiac arrest. And whilst in hospital, had been fitted with an implantable cardioverter defibrillator. Unfortunately though, his club Inter Milan were forced to cancel his contract as stipulations put forth by Serie A would prevent Christian Eriksen from playing with the ICD that had been implanted in his heart. Thankfully, Christian Eriksen seems to have made a full recovery. However, events such as this prove the desperate need for the correct equipment and the correct medical personnel to be on hand at all times in case such incidents like this happen again. Diving isn't the only cheating that players do. Who would have thought two people that got together after having an affair couldn't be trusted? Now, normally we wouldn't dwell on this sort of stuff on the channel because it's bloody pointless and let people do whatever they want with their lives and sort it out themselves, but I figured it was a big enough news story to cover, so we'll breeze through it very quickly. PSG forward Mauro Icardi was accused by his spouse Wanda Nara of having an affair with an Argentinian model. Fair enough, this seems a very awkward and difficult situation at the best of times. However, it's exacerbated by the fact that Wanda Nara, Mauro Icardi's wife, is his agent. Oh dear Christ. Oh, can you imagine? So theoretically, if she wanted to, she could just wreck his career, much like she wrecked her own marriage to Maxi Lopez. Although Mauro Icardi is not the only lad to have been caught offside this year, as former Barcelona favourite Eric Abidal has been caught doing the same thing, the silly bugger. He was caught having an affair with PSG lady star Kira Hamraoui, thereby ending his own marriage. What is it, lads? Just stop. Just stop. Euro final hooligans. After nearly a year of not allowing fans into stadiums, the fans who attended the Euro 2020 final showed why that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. Fans without tickets barged their way into the stadium. There was violence both inside and outside of the stadium, and in the hours following England's defeat on penalties, racist abuse was sent out to those who missed the penalties for the English national team in that final. Now, I know on YouTube you're meant to kind of keep your opinions to yourself so as to appeal to the widest audience, but on this occasion, no! You people who did that, you're not football fans, and you're not welcome in the football community, so bugger off kindly, please. And just a bit of life advice, this goes for just life in general, not just for when you go to the football. If you can't drink, don't! Now that's not to say those who committed these acts were all drunk, that would be a ridiculous generalisation. Some people are just scumbags and we're looking for a scrap. So as I say, you're not football fans, get in the bin, or the sea, or whichever. Just go away. Champions League knockout draw debacle. The draw for the last 16 of the Champions League had to be redone due to a technical error. It came after a mistake involving Atletico Madrid, Liverpool and Manchester United and the subsequent teams they could or could not play. Watching this was genuinely like watching your granddad trying to work the new iPhone. Oh, it was painful. Very painful. UEFA claimed there was a malfunction in the software in regards to who was eligible to play who, and then they had to redo the draw again, and it was all just a big bloody kerfuffle. For example, the original draw had Manchester United playing Villarreal, who they had literally just played in the group stages. Jesus Christ, lad, you're a multi-billion-pound organisation. Could you not install some bloody AVG or something? They give you the free version. It's grand. Just stick it on there. 60-day free trial. Bosh. 50 years of the Women's FA Cup. Chelsea defeated Arsenal 3-0 to complete their first ever domestic treble. However, this game had a huge significance to not only the teams involved, but to the wider footballing community as a whole. This marked the 50th edition of the Women's FA Cup final, which has become unrecognisable from those early days. This final was played at Wembley Stadium in front of 40,000 paying fans and shown live on the BBC, whereas the 1971 edition was played on an uneven pitch inside a running track at the Crystal Palace National Stadium with barely anyone in attendance. The women's game has come a long way, even in the past 10 years, and it's important that we keep that progression going. Despite the huge disparities in the men's and women's game, the passion and determination in the women's game show that it is indeed on the rise. The Fall of Barcelona. The last 12 months have been the bleakest in the history of the Catalan Giants. Financial meltdown, being knocked out of the Champions League, losing Lionel Messi, and a god-awful home kit. Barca have suffered for their appalling financial ineptitude, finding themselves £1.1 billion in debt. This has not been helped by their haphazard spending in the transfer market, bringing in the likes of Ousmane Dembele, Felipe Coutinho and Antoine Griezmann for a combined £300 million. And that's not even to mention the wages that they'll be on. It wouldn't have been so bad if the three of them had lived up to their price tags and the amount that they were being paid, but no. The club's hierarchy was thrown into turmoil yet again as former president Josep Bartomeu resigned amidst accusations of tax fraud, leaving the new president to try and sort out this absolute mess. That has been left. That pun doesn't even work, sorry. That was really bad. I just thought of it there, now I thought it'd be good, and it wasn't. Arguably though, the biggest blow was the departure of Lionel Messi. Club legend and arguably the greatest player to ever play the game, finally left Barcelona after a 20+ year association with the club. As the rules state that any contract that is offered to a player must be worth at least 50% of their previous contract. Substandard replacements and an injury crisis drew the ire further from the Barcelona fans, as well as not being able to register new signing Sergio Aguero, who was forced to retire earlier this year due to a heart condition. They have just brought in Ferran Torres for I think £55 million. Where they found that from, possibly down the back of the sofa, I have no idea. Apparently, their finances are on the rise now. Let's just see how that works out, shall we? Messi to PSG. On the subject of Lionel Messi, he did indeed end his 20+ year association with Barcelona to move on a free transfer to Paris Saint-Germain in the French league. Messi has signed a 2-year deal at the Parc des Princes, and man, it's weird seeing him in a PSG shirt. It's really weird. Lewandowski breaks goal record. On the 17th match day of the Bundesliga season, Bayern Munich striker Robert Lewandowski scored his 43rd goal in the calendar year of 2021, breaking Gerd Muller's record dating all the way back to 1972. There was no Ballon d'Or awarded in 2021, and despite the fact I don't put much stock in it personally, if it was awarded, it definitely should have gone to Robert Lewandowski. Give him one now, actually. Go on, bugger it. It doesn't matter. Just give him it. Lille break the PSG dominance. For the first time in 7 seasons, Liga has a new champion in the form of Lille. Having only conceded 23 goals in the league all season, the likes of veterans of Burak Yilmaz and Jose Font, alongside the younger talent of Yusuf Yazici and Jonathan David, managed to get Lille their first league championship since the year 2010-2011. Unfortunately though, due to the result of the pandemic, Lille find themselves in financial difficulties and will have to make the difficult decision to keep a hold of this side to try and retain their league title, or to sell their star assets to try and keep them afloat. West Ham finished 6th. David Moyes led his West Ham side to a 6th place finish in the Premier League, securing qualification for the Europa League. Considering where both West Ham and David Moyes were even just 5 years ago, this is a monumental achievement for a club that had been written off and a manager that had been written off after his terrible spells at Manchester United and Sunderland. Some shrewd spending and some big results against the likes of Arsenal and Leicester put them ahead of Tottenham and indeed Arsenal in the Premier League table to secure that Europa League qualification. West Ham finished top of their Europa League group, thereby giving them a bye into the round of 16 of the competition. Pumas' third kits. Just look at them, man. Look at them. I'm all for clubs trying something different with their third kit, but this to me screams of like it's 5 to 5 on a Friday and everyone just wanted to get home, so that is what we ended up with. Christ alive. The Newcastle United takeover. As of the 7th of October 2021, Newcastle United became the richest club in world football following a takeover by a Saudi-led consortium. Despite the joy of Mike Ashley no longer being in charge of the club, there are still concerns over the new owners, for example, their ties to the Saudi head of state, and the fact this could be seen as a case of sports washing to distract from Saudi Arabia's appalling human rights abuses. The consortium's assets amount to roughly £500 billion, dwarfing the likes of Manchester City and PSG. Once again, if you want to know more about the Newcastle United takeover, we made another video on that, which is here somewhere. It's floating about. Click that, that'll be good. The downfall of Derby. In stark contrast to the situation on Tyneside, the state of affairs at Derby County appears to be getting worse by the day. Following breaches of financial fair play, the EFL placed a transfer embargo upon the club, leaving manager Wayne Rooney with only 9 contracted senior players. The embargo was eventually relaxed, only if Derby stuck to strict financial regulations. Following that disaster, the club then went into administration on the 22nd of September of 2021 and were thus docked 12 points in the championship table. As of the time of writing, the administrators are confident of finding a buyer by the end of February. Ironically, one of them being Mike Ashley, the former Newcastle United owner. God help you all at Derby County. Sebastian Haller in the Champions League. Former West Ham United flop Sebastian Haller made history in this season's competition, as he became only the 2nd player in history to score in all 6 group games. He has, however, become the quickest player to score 10 goals in the Champions League, doing it in just 6 games, one fewer than previous record holder Erling Haaland. To put this achievement into context, Haller has scored more Champions League goals than the likes of Juan Mata, Yaya Toure and Eden Hazard have scored in their entire Champions League careers. Not bad for a lad who was left out of their European squad last year due to an administrative error. Jesus Christ. Burton Diaz becomes a hero. We end this review of 2021 with a heartwarming story because Jesus Christ don't we need it. Blackburn Rovers striker Ben Burton Diaz became one of the most extraordinary stories of the year. After noticing he was half Chilean whilst playing Football Manager, a group of Chilean supporters got a social media campaign together to get Burton Diaz selected for the national team. Despite having represented England at various youth levels, Burton Diaz accepted the call-up and made his debut for his newly adopted national side against Argentina in a World Cup qualifier. He scored his first goal for La Roja in his first start against Bolivia, scoring the only goal in a 1-0 victory. So there we go, that was football in 2021. As I said at the start of the video, this was not an exhaustive list by any means. There's plenty of stories that we missed out on. So like I said, let us know in the comment section below any stories that we missed out on that you think were important and worth a mention. If you did enjoy this video, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we make new videos. I know I said I'd do this only at the start, but there you go, I have to do it twice because, as I say, the mighty algorithm must be appeased. Thank you all so much for watching and we'll see you, as always, in the next one.